Hello and welcome everyone to Particular Play Paint. Today we are going through this battle report between Empire and the Tomb Kings. So I am playing the Tomb Kings here, and I have brought Arkhan the Black as my lord on chariot. I also have 3 units of normal skeleton warriors. They are to act as mid shields and to hold the line basically, so that my other infantries and my other units can beat the infantry and the enemy units while they sacrifice their valiant lives in the line of duty. So I also have 2 units of Nehekara warriors, which are good anti-infantry units to beat down the Empire infantry, which they generally are not very pricey and are worse than the Nehekara warriors. Also, we have 2 units of Tomb Guards halberds to deal with the Empire cavalry, 2 units of Necropolis knights which can deal with the cavalry because they are halberds, so they have a bonus against large targets and can also be charged behind the infantry line of the enemy. I have 3 units of Ushapti great bows which have a large range and they can shoot into the larger targets and different threats to neutralize them. What I didn't expect was my enemy to bring a full cavalry rush. What he did here, he brought the Empire, General of the Empire as his lord here, and he also brought 2 units of Outriders, which are missile cavalries. They have their guns and can have armor piercing shots, I guess. They have armor piercing, I think so. Yes, they have armor piercing. So they are pretty good against my larger monster, which I didn't bring here. But although the the Necropolis Knights have a lot of armor, so they are a pretty good counter for these Necropolis Knights. He also brought 2 Empire Captains on horseback and also brought 2 units of Reeks Guard, which are shocked light cavalry, good for beating down infantry and pretty much a versatile cavalry unit which you can use for as a fast moving charging unit to break down infantry if you are using a hammer and anvil technique. He also have demigryph knights which are extremely good cavalry and one of the major threats that Empire has. Also he has some heavy cavalry in form of the Empire Knights, which have a lot of armor. These guys have 110 armor. They are act as mostly as a shield unit against missile fire to soak up enemy fire and damage, while the other cavalries can go ahead and beat them from the back. So he has a complete cavalry build and I was really not ready for it. So let's see how it goes. So here we go. Yeah. So you can see that he is immediately pushing up his Outriders to pepper some of my units here, and also because we are on the 2 sides of the hill, we cannot see each other's forces. Because we are not in the line of sight. He can see my force, although I can see only these Outriders. So I immediately start moving my Necropolis Knights out and trying to go around these flanks of these Outriders, while these Outriders get peppered by my Ushapti Great Bows. These Ushapti Great Bows has great range and a lot of damage. As you can see, this Outrider unit is already wavering and they have lost a lot of skills. So yeah, they have lost almost half of their strength, almost half HP damage from the single volley. Although my Necropolis Knight takes a lot of damage from their armor piercing fire, they would turn back here and go into the General's aura, Hero's aura here, and gain back their leadership and turn back. Although this Ushapti here is still firing into them, causing them to break. They will return later, but they have taken significant amount of damage. At this point he starts moving up his army and I noticed that he has a complete force of cavalry. So I start to move backwards here, trying to zone him out a bit. so that I get more chance to fire with my Ushapti to soften his army here a bit. So he starts moving up these Empire Knights here on my flanks, probably trying to hit this. Although I moved back, I forgot that my general and my Necropolis Knight moved back so far. So they were left there for quite some time, while this Necropolis Knight is moving up. And also I lost a halberd here somewhere. Yeah, these guys are still moving backwards. So I didn't notice them here. Although rest of my army will be moving back, because at this point I know that these guys will not do pretty much anything. So they are just acting as a screen to protect my Ushapti, which are the main damage dealers in my army at this point against his cavalry force. Also, I am trying to screen against this with this halberd against this Empire Knights, which are looking for opening against my Ushapti to charge in. I return back my general to move some spells. He charges against me and goes through this skeleton warriors. No problem, these skeleton warriors won't hold against his knights. Rigsguard, which are Shock's cavalry, they have a lot of charge bonus and they charge into my general. I do try to move back my general, but here he is getting pretty hard by his knight. My general does have anti-infantry and he is armored, but these guys are pretty hard, although they are anti-infantry. So it's a pretty okay fight, not too much. Although my Ushapti has started firing into these guys, dealing a pretty good amount of damage, while my halberd up. In this side here, his Empire Knights were charged by my Necropolis Knights, which are anti-large and should win against the Empire Knight. Although I move back and I think I cycle charge here a bit. So they should win against them, but he have two units of this Empire Knight and captain here too. So I reform here and start fighting against them. So this Empire Knight is pretty much beaten. So here my Ushapti is still firing and I start screening the steam tank here, which is his artillery piece with my infantry. They are basically just mischief. They are not gonna beat the steam tank, but they are just here to protect my Ushapti and my other units from getting fired upon by this steam tank. In the meantime, one of the Ushapti units, I move up the hill and start firing on this returning outrider, trying to keep them out of the battle. And at this point, Soul Realm goes off and my army starts to hit. I move up to another Ushapti unit and start firing on these outriders, which are pretty much broken at this point. These outriders are trying to support the steam tank here, and my general is getting spooned currently by these three characters, and he will lose this fight. And I noticed that I can't save him at this point. So I think I went ahead and cast his spell on these halberds. Also I move up these halberds to support him a bit and to trap these characters here. The Ushapti is here. The Necropolis Knights are holding on against these almost dead Empire Knights, which are almost completely obliterated. My Lord is dead, which gives a huge penalty to my army because they start breaking and crumbling. At this point, as you can see, these Ushapti are crumbling and they would die. So I am ripping this last shot from my Ushapti into this outrider. The Empire Knights are coming in to break my Ushapti. Here the Necropolis Knights comes in to support this Ushapti unit because they are pretty much the only damage dealer at this point. Now I notice this, I have this another halberd unit and I start moving them up from the tree line to support these guys and trap these characters and this all large army here. So this is pretty much the great turning point because his outriders, one of the outriders unit has already broken and ran off. The other is weak here. They don't have many missiles and they are wavering, while the steam tank is getting cannot whip any shots because they are engaged by my infantry. I return back this infantry to engage the steam tank again, while I start moving my rest of my army to just blob upon these characters to kill them. At this point, the second healing goes off, and my army gets a bit of a second wind here. They start healing up, and most of them will return, get their morale back. Although the Ushaptis at this point have lost their morals beyond the point of no return, and they will start crumbling down. So any undead faction in Total Warhammer 2 has this mechanic called crumbling, where once their morale reaches 0, they start taking damage over time. They take 10 damage per second, I think. So they start crumbling and they would die on their own. I don't have my Lord, so I can't boost their morale up again. So here I am just pushing up my halberd to pressure these knights and his cavalry, which are engaged with my Nehekara warriors, which will do nothing against these knights, and my Necropolis knights, which I guess are wiped out. No, yeah, they are wiped out. It's just a huge cavalry force, so even though they are anti-large, they would die. So I have at this point surrounded a steam tank, and this infantry unit here is healing so that they can pile in here later and hold it off so that I can bring in my other anti-large to bring down the steam tank. The Empire Knights, the Rex Guard will charge against the infantry, preventing them from doing that. Although this missile cavalry here have lost all their missiles, they are out of their ammo, and they are mostly useless right now. So the steam tank is pretty down, but it is unbreakable, so it is fine. Wait, at this point the third healing pops off, and my warriors get healed pretty well. This halberd unit is completely full health here, which although here the balance of power is still Empire favored, because he has this unbreakable steam tank and he has this heroic character, but this Empire Knights here would go out of the battlefield pretty much. They are broken, they are not returning anymore, and they are gone. So at this point I pile in my halberds against this steam tank to finally deal with it and kill it off, while I allow my other infantry to rest a bit and push my other halberd towards this knight just to pressure them so that they can't charge the back of this halberd or my other infantry which are dealing with the field. I need to get this piece out of the field, because if this is here, it will be ripping shots in the back of my different units, and that will be horrible. So the steam tank will die here. It is pretty much dead. It has only 149 health, and down it goes. So at this point I have dealt with most of the range threat. Actually all the range threats are gone. So only thing that is left in his army here are his 3 lords, 1 unit of outriders who are out of their ammo and they will break with a single tap, while he has 1 unit of Rex Guards who are also very lower. So at this point I have almost won the battle, but the problem here is my units are pretty slow, being undead and skeletons, while his units are fast if anything. So I can't catch them. So I use this opportunity to form up a box which faces him. So I try to keep him in my vision all the time, and just forming up a box so that he can't rear charge me after he regenerates, because that can be pretty bad. He has shock cavalry and most of his units have a lot of charge bonus, so he might break 1 or 2 of my units as my lord is gone. Now here I put down the Ushapti summon, which is a ability of the Tomb King from the realm of death. So the Ushapti summon comes down, and they have some good speed. So I charge them towards this knight just to pressure them a bit so that they can't heal. And the summons disappear after some time, so they are pretty much expendable. And I start moving up my halberd to support them, because these are not anti-large and they get pretty hard by the characters and the remaining knights. So at this point, I start pushing up my two almost full health halberds. They are pretty healthy. Then most of their characters are knights. So here the Riksguard and the outriders will break, seeing my halberd and being getting taken down by this Ushapti. They are shattered, and at this point, my opponent quits because he concedes because he only has his characters left, and the halberds will pretty much destroy these large characters. So that was a very good scrap and great battle there. My infantry, normal infantry, didn't do anything as expected because they were to be fighting against infantry. They were not good against cavalry, so they were pretty much just a meat shield. My one of my halberds did nothing because they were sent to the woods and they returned in the last of the battle. My general died pretty early, so it was not a very good play on my part in some points. But the Ushapti did great. Each of them have over 1,000 value, and one of the halberd knights did pretty well. They have over 1,000 value, and one of the halberds that was constantly in fight did pretty well. So pretty much these units were the MVPs of the game. So that was a great game, and I enjoyed it pretty very well. So with that, I would say goodbye to you today. Thank you. Have a great day.